Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a company called PT Merdeka Battery Materials, or MBMA for short. They became an absolute powerhouse in the nickel game in what feels like the blink of an eye, placing themselves right at the center of the green energy revolution. So let's get into how they pulled it off.
But first, let me ask you a question. We all see electric cars everywhere, right? The boom is happening. But what's the one thing, the single biggest bottleneck that's keeping it from going even faster? Is it the number of chargers? Is it people wanting to buy them? Nope. The real answer is actually way more basic.
Believe it or not, it might just be this rock, or more specifically, rocks that have nickel in them. See, you just can't build those powerful, long-range batteries that we all want in our EVs without a whole lot of nickel. And getting your hands on a massive, steady supply of the right kind of nickel, that's one of the toughest challenges facing the entire car industry. This problem, this scarcity, is right at the heart of our story today.
So when you're faced with a problem that big, what do? Well, you build a giant. And that's exactly what happened. Our story really kicks off in 2022, a year where this new player just exploded onto the scene with unbelievable speed.
I mean, just look at this timeline. The speed is just incredible. In early 2022, the company, which had a different name back then, made these huge moves, grabbing control of a massive nickel mine, the SCM mine, and two really important smelters. By July, boom, they've got their new name, PT Merdeka Battery Materials. And before the year was even over, they'd locked down basically 100% control of that mine. In less than a single year, all the key pieces were in place.
Okay, so what did they actually buy? Well, these RKIFF smelters are basically industrial workhorses. Think of them as giant, super hot ovens. They take a specific type of high-grade nickel ore, something called saprolite, and they turn it into what's known as nickel pig iron, or NPI. Now, here's the key thing. At this point, NPI wasn't really for batteries. Its main use? Stainless steel. So, MBMEA's first big play was to dominate a totally different but related industry. It was their way in.
So think about it. In just 1 year, MBMA had the mine and they had the factories. They had the raw materials and the power to process them. But an engine this massive, with such huge ambitions, needs a serious amount of fuel to really get going.
And that brings us perfectly to Act 2, fueling the machine. This is the moment where the big vision gets the cash it needs to become a reality. On April 18, 2023, MBMA went public with its IPO, and they raised a truly colossal amount of money, about 9.14 trillion rupiah. That's well over 600 million US dollars. This wasn't just about raising some funds. This was a massive signal to the entire market about just how big their plans really were.
And that money wasn't just going to sit around at a bank account. They had a clear mission for every single dollar. A huge chunk, 300 million, went to paying off debt, which is always a smart move to make your finances stronger. But the rest? It was pure growth fuel, injected directly into new projects, pumped into the mine and a new smelter to keep them running, and used to clean up some internal finances. It was an incredibly focused and strategic plan.
Okay, so the strategy is locked in, the money is in the bank. Now it was time to turn all those plans into actual tons of metal. Welcome to Act 3, ramping up production.
You could say the newly funded machine was officially switched on. And let me tell you, the results were immediate and they were dramatic. So first, let's look at that nickel pig iron, their main product for the stainless steel market. As you can see, production just shot up by 26% in a single year. That's a jump from around 65,000 tons of nickel all the way up to over 82,000. That growth came directly from that IPO money, which helped bring a whole new smelter online and just made everything more efficient.
But this next chart, this tells an even bigger story. Look at this. Production of high-grade nickel matte, which is a much more refined product and a critical step closer to actual battery materials, it just soared by 66%. This shows it wasn't just about making more, it was about making better, higher value stuff. They were deliberately climbing up the value chain.
You know, producing more is one thing, but can you do it efficiently? Can you do it profitably? This next part of the story is all about proving that the whole business model actually works at scale.
And here's the proof right here. As they were making more and more nickel, the actual cash cost to produce every single ton went down. And not by a little, but by a lot. From over $12,000 a ton to under $10,500. This is a classic, beautiful example of economies of scale. The bigger the machine got, the more efficient it became. Now, to really understand MBMA's master plan, you got to get this tale of two ores, because both of them are sitting right there in their SCM mine. Everything we've talked about so far, the RKE smelters, the NPI, that's all based on saprolite ore. It's the high-grade stuff, relatively easy to process. But the real price, the key to the entire EV battery kingdom, is limonite ore. It's lower grade, it's way trickier to handle, but it's exactly what you need for batteries. And guess what? MBMA is sitting on a mountain of it.
And that brings us to the final act, the company's ultimate goal, conquering the next frontier. You guessed it, batteries.
So how in the world do you unlock all that value from the tricky limonite ore? The answer is this super advanced, pretty complex technology called HPAL, which stands for high-pressure acid leach. This technology is a total game changer. It is the magic key that lets you turn that lower-grade ore into the high-value stuff that batteries are made of.
And this right here maps out their entire future, step by step. It's a clear roadmap. Step 1, you mine the limonite. Step 2, you run it through your shiny new HPAL plant. That gives you this intermediate product called MHP. And then step 4, that MHP gets refined into nickel sulfate, which is the direct ingredient that goes into making an EV battery. It's a straight line from their mind to the heart of an electric car.
And you know, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky 10-year plan. This is happening as we speak. The company's massive bet on HPAL technology started coming to life at the end of 2024, and their goal is to hit full-scale commercial production in 2025. The future is coming, and it is coming fast.
Which really leaves us with this one last huge question. Think about it. In just 2 years, MBMA built an absolute empire supplying the stainless steel industry. So now with this massive all-in bet on HPAL technology, are they about to do the exact same thing for the electric vehicle industry and maybe redefine the entire supply chain for green energy in the process? Looking at what they've done so far, I certainly wouldn't bet against them.